this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be going through a quick how to sign up for Flipgrid, which is actually super easy because we have Google accounts and you can just sign up using your Google account. How to create a grid. There's two big vocab words, I would call them, in Flipgrid: grid and topic. A grid is how you're going to organize your class, right? So I might have like a second hour grid, or I might have a first grade grid or something along those lines. So I can think about organizing my grids in classes. Topics, though, are going to be what questions or what prompts or where your students are actually going to participate in the video conferencing. So grid is the big picture, topic is the little picture. So you'll have multiple topics within a grid. So we'll talk about creating a grid and how to create it for TSC students specifically. Then we'll look at creating topics and just some tips on creating some of those topics. Then we're going to go into what they call the DISCO library, which is a discovery library. It's where a lot of people from around the world have taken the topics that they've used with their students, they've shared them, and they've made them free for you to use as well. For my secondary teachers, it's very similar to the Commons, except we can actually preview all of this content. And we're able to search for topics and add them to our grid. So I'm just going to give you a few tips in the Discovery Library, because if you've never used Flipgrid before, it's a great place to start. But there are some things that I think you should know before you go into it. Finally, we'll go into, okay, I've created this topic for students. Now what? How do I share it with them? So we'll do I'll actually go through the steps of two sharing ideas. So copying and pasting or embedding the code in Canvas and then sharing it via Classroom. And then I'll also sort of touch on, obviously, emailing it to parents or putting it on Google Sites, something along those lines. And then finally, we'll look at, from a student's point of view, I'll actually sign in as my son, and I'll show you what it looks like on the student side. What you'll find is it's super easy for students to participate in this. The last two things that I want to mention to you, I'm not going to actually go through these things, but at the bottom of that outline, there's an iOS and Android and a computer version of this. But there are two I call it student/parent, because we know that some of our parents might be helping our students with this, but there are student and parent guides to actually participating in a Flipgrid. So it shows them, if it's iOS or Android, they have to download the app, how to sign in, how to get to your grid, how to participate, all that stuff. And then it does the exact same thing with the computer version of that. So we felt like those were two helpful resources that you guys might be requesting anyway. So we figured we would front load them and you guys have them right away. So let's get started in Flipgrid. So I started just at flipgrid.com, and you can do the exact same thing, flipgrid.com. What you'll notice, though, and one thing I want to mention with this, what you'll notice on flipgrid.com is that we don't have a student login. Up at the top right-hand corner, you're going to see educator sign up and educator login. The reason we don't have a student login is because students don't actually create Flipgrid accounts. When you share your Flipgrid URL with them, or when you share that topic in Canvas or in Classroom or anything like that, that's how they actually get access to Flipgrid. We give them access by setting up that grid for them. So up at the top right-hand corner, if you have not signed up for Flipgrid yet, you're going to do educator sign up. And when I click on that, notice that I have sign up with Google. It also lets me know, hey, students don't need accounts. So if parents are like, oh, Mrs. Whoever is going and she's doing Flipgrid with the students, so I'm going to go to Flipgrid and try and sign my kid up for an account, they'll get a warning that says, hey, students don't need accounts. Just make sure you have your Flip code, and we'll look at what that is. If you already have an account, or if it says, hey, you already have an account, and maybe you signed up for it a while ago, you're going to come to this educator login. And mine actually just signed me right in, but you would click sign in with Google and you're going to be launched right into Flipgrid. So once I am in my Flipgrid account here, I'll just give you a quick tour of what it looks like when you have a Flipgrid and when you've got multiple things going on here. So over on the left-hand side, I can see my grids, and then I see add new grid, which is where we're going to start after we do our tour. And below that, I have all the grids that I've used this school year. So I've done a couple different things. A lot of it has been just playing around with a lot of this stuff. I've got a few topics that have some videos in them, things like that. So I'm going to be able to see all of my grids. So once you create your Flipgrid, this is where you're going to go back and actually access that stuff. So if I look at, for instance, this 2019-2020 grid, and I click on it, then I'm going to get all of my topics. And I'm also going to see how many videos I have in there. I'll be able to view those videos, all that stuff. So this main page here is where you're going to navigate to all of your Flipgrid content. So let's look at creating a brand new Flipgrid. Down right below where mine says that I have 9 hours and 35 minutes of engagement, right underneath that, I have a pink and orange button that says add new grid. And I'll click that. And I'm going to be required to answer some of these questions. And this is really important information. So make sure that you listen up. And if I have any K2 teachers here, this is different than how we did it previously. Now, if your students in K2 have been using Flipgrid for a while and they know their student ID in Flipgrid, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you use that, you can continue to use this. If you are setting this Flipgrid up for the first time and sending it out to parents, let's first give it a name. I'm just going to make mine Friday, April 10th, because I plan to delete this. But you'll give it a name. So that might be 2020 first grade or second hour or something along those lines. And then I'm going to choose school email. And that's what I'd like for you guys to choose as well, school email. And then as I scroll down, this Flipgrid code or this flip code is going to be important here. You'll notice that it chose my last name and just a couple digits. This is actually what the parents are going to use if they're on a mobile device and they want to access your grid. They would use this code. We will be able to access this code later, so you don't have to write it down. You can change this, but for me, that's a pretty easy code, Margison 1366. That's easy to remember. So I'll click next. And then it has already pulled in my email address here, the end of my email address. And that's because I need to also be able to participate in my own grid. But now I want students to participate. So as you remember, we chose school email. So we are adding the end of their email address. And I'm going to click tab. And this is now going to be set up for my students to be able to participate in this grid. So both at tsc.k12.in.us and at tscstudents.net. This information, if I go back to my outline real quick, this information is right here on our outline. So I'm just going to highlight that because that's super important if you're looking to be a participant in your grid and also make sure that it's set up correctly for your students. Now, note that if a parent logs in, it's not going to let them in, right? Because they don't have that email address. So students will need to log in with their TSC email address and password. So that's username at tscstudents.net. On the guides that I shared with you, the iOS and the computer guides, that information is on there about how to sign in with their TSC account. And then I'll click next. And that's it. My grid is created. So Flipgrid is super awesome because it's so easy and it's so easy for students. So now I'm going to go to my grid. And I'm going to be able to see any topics that I have now. So it is going to front load it with a single topic first before you get started. But then I'm going to be able to add any additional topics. So I see my grid here and I can change any of those settings. And I can see where this initial topic is. Say hello on Flipgrid. And for some of you, this might be a great first topic for your students, and you are totally welcome to share this. But let's create a brand new topic for the kids, and let's look at how to actually share that. So a very similar button to what I had when I created a new grid, I also have add new topic. And now I'm going to look at some of the options that my students have, or that my students will have, or that I will be able to give them within that topic. So the first thing is my topic title. So in this case, it'll just be April 10th. My second option here is the recording time. So 15 seconds to 5 minutes has been the default and all of this range here in Flipgrid for a while. Either earlier this week or later last week, Flipgrid announced that they unlocked 10 minutes for free customers, which we're a free customer. Everybody really is a free customer, but 10 minutes here. That means that this is going to be able to be used maybe for some longer presentations as you guys are doing remote learning, or honestly, the kids haven't seen each other forever. So 10 minutes might be sufficient time for a kid to update their classmates on what's been going on in their life. So you can choose a recording limit. Now, that does not mean that they have to record 10 full minutes, right? It just means that at 10 minutes, it's going to cut them off. So keep that in mind, that that's our recording limit. I'll keep mine at 2 minutes. We'll just say it's something short. And then I'm going to add my prompt. And so this might be for your first one, just update us on what's happening in your life, or it might be something silly. Would you rather, I don't know, eat tacos for the rest of your life or eat pizza for the rest of your life? Something along those lines. That might be actually a very hard decision. So I will add my question or my stimulus here. So whatever question or prompt I have for my students. And then underneath that, if I want to add any additional information, I actually can record my own video if I'd like to. I can add an emoji, just something fun for the students to look at. This will show up on my grid. So I'm going to add an emoji just for something fun. And then as I scroll down, now this is different. If you haven't been in Flipgrid for a while, this is a little bit different. Before, we would see a whole bunch of options to then actually be able to create our topic. Right now, though, we don't see all of those options, and they've really just condensed it because they want to make it easy for you to create your topic. So if this is all that I want to do, great, I can create my topic right now and I'm good to go. If I'd like additional options, I'm going to click more options down here at the bottom right. And what that is going to allow me to do, I want to point out two things in this more options. The first, both of them actually are going to be in topic status. So the first is video moderation. I have had teachers use video moderation if they felt like maybe the topic being asked might be sensitive for some students, and so they want to actually watch the videos before the entire class sees the video. So video moderation is going to send you an email when a student submits a video, and then you will be able to approve that video to go on your topic. Because as a reminder, when you're on Flipgrid, as soon as a student records and submits their video, it will pop up for everyone. So keep that in mind. If you would like to, though, you can use that video moderation if you'd like to see the videos first and then be able to show them to students. And then the next one here is students use student replies. I think this is going to be really good if you do have students maybe just updating on their lives, sharing something with their friends, doing show and tell, something along those lines. It would be fun for students to be able to reply to each other and maybe ask questions, and it will encourage a more authentic student engagement discussion style video system here. So as I scroll down, these are just some other options. I'm not going to go through all of these things, but then I'm going to be able to create my topic down here at the bottom. So I'll just choose create topic and it's ready. So two things, I can go ahead and share this right now. I can copy the link, I can embed it from here and everything. But let's say I'm just going to maybe create a couple topics for the next few weeks. So I want to get out of Flipgrid, or I want to get out of my actual topic itself. And I'm going to go into this main page again because I need to know how to get back to those topics that I just created. So the first thing on this main page, you'll see that I have my Friday, April 10th grid. That's my class. And when I click on that, I see my topics. So let's say April 10th is the topic that I'd like to share. So over here on the right-hand side, you'll see a blue share button. What's awesome about Flipgrid is they keep everything very consistent. So this share icon with the rocket ship is going to look the exact same everywhere. You'll see it in multiple places, even on this page. So I'm going to share this topic, and I can copy this link and paste it in an email or on my teacher webpage. If you're worried about your webpage being public and then sharing this link to your topic, as a reminder, we set up our grid to only be available to TSC students and users. So a person would need to have a TSC login to be able to access that grid or view any of the videos. So student privacy is a very big thing with Flipgrid, and that is protected here 100%. So I can copy these things, but for my Canvas users, so 6 through 12 teachers, listen up right now. The first option here is my copy embed code. If I click on that, it has now copied the embed code. So it's not going to actually show me that embed code in here. It's just going to copy it when I click on that button. I'm going to open up my Canvas homepage here. And you'll notice, hopefully, this rich content editor, you'll recognize some of these things. And if I go down here on the bottom right-hand corner, I can choose switch to HTML editor. And for those of you that have used Canvas for a while, you might recognize this. And I'm just going to do Control V and paste. What does that look like now? So for my students, what that's going to look like is this. It will have a Flipgrid login, and I'm going to be able to log in directly with Google right from my home, from this current page here. So it makes it really easy for students to log in. They can even choose Remember Me. They don't have to log in every single time. So I can do this inside Canvas very easily. So K-5 teachers, listen up. My Google Classroom users, I have integration directly with Google Classroom here. So I'm going to click Share to Google Classroom. It's going to allow me to choose my class if I have multiple classes, choose what action I would like to take. I'm going to actually create an assignment for this one. I'm going to call it Flipgrid. And it's going to link that Flipgrid for me. I'm going to make it ungraded. It will be due today. And I'm going to actually add it to my Friday topic. So if I go over to my Google Classroom now, refresh my page, I'm going to see within my Friday, April 10th topic, I have a Flipgrid, and then students are able to click on it there and actually participate. Whether your students are using Canvas, Google Sites, Classroom, you just emailed the link to them, no matter what, when they sign in, this is what it's going to look like. So let me flip over to my son, his Google Classroom. So this is his Google Classroom here, Friday, April 10th. Here's his Flipgrid, and he's going to click on that link. So as a student here, I'm going to see login with Google. He happens to already be logged into Chrome. If they're not, or if mom or dad's email address comes up in here, they can choose use another account, or they can add a guest window to Chrome. So he'll do that, log in, and then he'll be able to participate. You can see the question prompt here. You'll see that emoji that I added. And then it does show that it's moderated because it's going to actually email me that video before he actually sees it. You guys will see me in my video. I'm able to record now. Some of the options that we have down here at the bottom, we have filters. So these are kind of just fun for the kids. They can change the way their webcam looks. This last one here actually pixelates them. So this one's kind of fun. If anybody watched Masked Singer, it's similar to that, or teachers have been doing something similar to that, where the students actually try to pixelate and then try to fool their classmates on who's actually on that picture. Then they might give some clues about who they are. And then the students obviously use those student-to-student replies to guess who that student might be. Additionally, I can add text, stickers, drawings. I can actually use a whiteboard or a photo sticker. The last thing I want to show you in this area that's new, if you're a Canvas user from before, this is a new feature. You can actually share your screen within Canvas here. So if I choose the 3 dots next to my record option, I have screen sharing, and that's going to allow students to maybe give a presentation or something along those lines within Flipgrid and then submit it directly to your grid and make it available for students, for the other students in the class to participate or to give them some feedback or look at. All right, the last piece of this is our disco library. So if you're in your Flipgrid right now, all the way up at the top, you have My Grids. And then over on the right-hand side of those top menus, we also have our disco library. So the disco library is where other teachers have already added a ton, and I'm talking about a ton of topics. There's actually a whole section of, I already did it. I already scrolled past it. Learning from home topics. So these are remote learning style topics that are specifically about family engagement and dialogue. And these are awesome. So what I typically do is I try to find maybe a larger theme that I would like to cover. And then my tip for you, if you're going to go in the disco library, is come over here to where it says engagement and sort it so that you're getting the highest engagement in your topic. So these are going to be the most popular topics across all of Flipgrid will show up in that engagement. So in this one, it's what's in your bag. So I am able to click on that topic. I can see what the topic is all about. I can see how much engagement, who the topic was created by. And if I'd like to use this for students, it's as easy as saying, I want to use it on this grid, add it, and it's ready for my students. So I'll click update topic. Great. If I go back to my grid now, on Friday, April 10th, I have my Say Hello on Flipgrid, my April 10th videos, and what's in your bag. So those are my 3 topics that I have going there. If I would like to deactivate a topic, I can choose here that I want to hide it. The last thing I'm going to mention, I promise this is the last thing, and then I'll take any questions. If you have a student, you didn't moderate the videos, and you happen to have a student that does something inappropriate and you would like to remove their video from the grid, you don't want to delete it or anything, you just want to remove it. If I look up here, I've got a student right here. I'm looking at my topic. Here's their video. Right where I see active, I'm going to be able to hide that video. And then I can save that if I needed to maybe share it with a principal or something like that, or a parent, let them know that something happened on the grid. But you are able to still control the videos even if you don't moderate those videos.